Guys, can you tell us about your movie, Mine? Well, I'll let you guys talk about it.
Our film is Mind Your Own Business.
Right.
So look at the dark side of the environmental movement, and it really looks at the campaigns by environmentalists to stop large-scale mining projects in some of the most impoverished areas of the world. And we went there, and what we found is that much of what environmentalists say is either misleading exaggerations or lies, and we started looking at the lies, but then we also started looking at the motivation behind the lies.
Now, overall, would you say that environmentalism has a positive or negative consequence?
Oh, I think environmentalism has an extraordinarily negative consequence on the world, because the real problem with environmentalists is that they don't like people. They like two-headed sloths and various animals that no one knows the name of more than they care about people. We went to Madagascar and we interviewed the head of the World Wildlife Fund there, a guy called Mark Fenn, who said that people were poor in Madagascar but that they were happy. And it's complete nonsense. They're not happy. They're not happy. People aren't happy when their children die before their 5th birthdays. And it's that kind of lie and that kind of hypocrisy that is just awful. Mark Fenn is an American. He's enjoyed the riches that America has known through industrialization, through unsustainable development, but he wants to deny people in Africa the kind of life that he gets to enjoy. And that's hateful. That's a hateful ideology.
Now, in your filming of this movie, what scene from the movie had the most emotional impact?
It's hard to say. I mean, there are many types of emotions. Some of them are disgust, and some of them are sympathy, and some of them are sadness, and some of them are humour. I think Mark Fenn is obviously a huge hit, you know, where he tells people that in all seriousness that people are poor but happy, and that they don't want money, and they don't want their children to go to school because they don't care about the future, and they're just poor but happy. It's great. And then you've got the Francoise Heidemann, a Belgian environmentalist, who says that people in a Romanian mining town prefer to ride a horse and cart rather than buy a car. You know, it's nothing to do with poverty. They actually love it. They love their impoverished lifestyle. So, and there's other things. George, the guy.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, the really emotional bit for me, and I think we've just watched parts of the film here in Portland. I think it's incredibly sad, the last scene in the film where we leave George, this really nice guy, George Lucian, who lives in a one-bedroom apartment with his 5 adult brothers and sisters and his parents in a very small apartment, a one-bedroom apartment in Romania. And no one from the environmental movement is offering him a job or his family any kind of future. All they're saying is no, 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 no to the Canadian mining company. A Canadian mining company that would offer very many members of that family very well-paid jobs in a very environmentally regulated industry, unbelievably regulated industry. And all the environmentalists want to do is to stop that development. And the last scene of the film, we leave George behind, and some people today here in Portland asked, you know, what's happened to George? And the tragedy, the real tragedy of this story is that the environmentalists are winning and George is unemployed still today, 2 years after we finished filming? And that's a terrible tragedy, and it makes me very sad. We move on, and we're making other documentaries, and we're very lucky that we've come from an industrialised society ourselves. We come from the West, and we're doing very well. Thank you very much. But George is not doing very well. Thank you very much. The people who are trying to prevent that mine going ahead are doing very well. They're from Switzerland. They're from Belgium. From very wealthy countries. And once they succeed in destroying his life and his family's life, they'll move on to the next thing.
In conclusion, can you explain what your ultimate objective is with this work?
Tell the truth, you know, and give a voice to people who don't seem to be heard in the world or have a voice. I mean, lots of documentary makers who say, you know, go and tell the true story. Why do they go to places and have the story narrated by an NGO or a foreigner? Why don't you go and actually ask the people about their lives and what their hopes and ambitions are and the truth? Why is it always narrated by some fair trade person or some environmental NGO who's either a foreigner or a middle class person? Why don't they go and ask the impoverished people of that country about the day-to-day realities of their lives and what their hopes and ambitions are for themselves and for their children. And that's what we want to do. We want to tell the truth to people's lives.
It's what we did do. It's what we have done in Mind Your Own Business, and I'd encourage everyone to get a copy. Mind Your Own Business. You can buy it at mindyourownbusiness.org. And we go and talk to people in very poor places, and they're very clear about what they want to do, and they're very clear about what's important in their lives, and they're not at all stupid. They're very intelligent and very clear-minded, and we need to listen a lot more to them. As Phelim said, listening to NGOs, listening to Greenpeace activists telling you what Africans need, it's a joke.